Hi, I'm Parkson, Head of Programs at the Center for Fathering. With me today is Dr. Mary Chong, Assistant Professor at the Swee Hock School of Public Health, National University of Singapore. She is a clinical dietitian and has a special interest in diet and lifestyle behaviors that has been researching this area with web-based technologies in children and adults. Her current work includes investigating behavioral determinants of health in children. It was reported by Ministry of Health in November of 2021 that Singapore's obesity rate has risen to the highest level since 2010. Now, Singaporeans are urged to increase their physical activity and adopt a healthier diet. I'll be asking Dr. Chong for her advice on how to have better health through better eating habits and nutrition. Welcome, Dr. Chong, and thank you for taking the time to speak with me about nutrition.
Me here, Parkson. Happy to share and hope to be able to contribute to this session. You mentioned just now about the National Nutrition Survey, right? Talking about how the obesity rates have risen, and despite calorie intake dropping. So I believe the issue here is that while Singaporeans are consuming fewer calories, we are also becoming more sedentary. Now, people are increasingly desk-bound in their jobs, and while there are segments of the population who are physically active, there's still a large proportion of people who are not physically active on a regular basis. And to compound this, more people now are relying on meals and groceries delivered to their doorsteps, which further decreases the energy we expend. Of course, this situation is made worse with COVID, with more people working from home, less people going outdoors, all this translating to less walking, less physical activity, to take, for example, public transport, or just walking out to buy meals. And as a result, here we are expending less energy than what we consume from food. Therefore, weight gain just creeps in gradually, and over time, it's inevitable that overweight and obesity would set in.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because when COVID-19 first hit and we began the lockdowns and all that, within a couple of weeks, I gained at least 2 kilograms. And, I found that I couldn't fit into my pants anymore. So I began to, go on some kind of exercise and, walks and runs and all kinds of things. And, that's where I became more interested to find out, what should I be doing? Because, I've never put on weight so quickly in my life. I've always been more or less underweight, but now I'm kind of aging towards the maybe you call it obesity, all right? Or at least a little bit heavier. Does that mean that we should be consuming even less calories than what we are consuming now? I mean, generally speaking, the Singaporean lifestyle is pretty sedentary, isn't it? Except for some who are exercise buffs. But for average guy like me, I'm already in my late 50s, so I don't really go on long runs and things like that. So I only do, very, very basic exercises just to tone up, my muscles and keep them awake so that they don't fall asleep. So actually, I don't need that much calories, isn't it?
Yes. So actually what you mentioned just now, it's what I've been hearing as well. And people forget that, that they forget that, especially during COVID, when we're more indoors, just taking away that walking to the bus stop, walking to the MRT, or getting lunch, all that actually calories are being burned. And if now we take away all that and we multiply by days at home, months at home, all this actually translate to excess calories, and that's why the weight gain coming in. Even though we claim to just eat like usual, we don't change our diet, but it's because of this drop in energy expenditure. So really, actually, for basic metabolism, meaning just to meet our body's very basic needs, okay, of giving energy for to sustain our hearts, okay, for breathing, an average person would require about 1,500 to 1,800 calories per day, depending on his or her height or weight. Now, on top of that, the additional calories required is really dependent on how physically active he or she is. And the amount and the intensity of physical activity, okay, can easily go up to about, can increase, okay, the amount of calories we need by about 300 to 500 calories or more, depending on how much exercise we do. And this means that just from exercising, our amount of calories we need can go up to between 1,800 to 2,500 calories or even higher. So really telling us the importance and even the impact of being how physically active we are to the amount of calories we require. And I think for us Asians in particular, quite important, because we have learned that BMI, so our body mass index, just looking at it alone may not necessarily reflect the higher risk of metabolic conditions, for example, diabetes, heart diseases, because of our genetic makeup, where in Asians, fat tends to accumulate at our abdominal region. And in fact, research over the past 10, 20 years have shown that fat, okay, accumulated in our abdominal region is actually more potent and indicative of our risk of chronic diseases compared to just looking at our BMI status. Okay, and this is what we commonly refer to as the thin fat phenomenon in Asians, where we have thin extremities, limbs, hands and legs, but a fat belly. And really, we can be of normal BMI or just slightly overweight, but then be at high risk of metabolic conditions just because of the fat we have accumulated at our abdominal region, which is often indicated by what we call a waist circumference. So therefore, it's important to not just look at, whether I'm overweight or not, but also to look at our waist circumference and importantly, the kind of diet we're eating, the quality of the diet.
I see. Yeah, I think BMI is actually a combination of four things, right? I think this. I can't remember offhand right now, but there are two types of fat. One is the subcutaneous fats, and the other one is the visceral fats, which is the more dangerous one that usually grows around your organs and your belly area. Yeah, so that is the one that we need to be really, really cautious about. And that's how obesity and overweight is actually measured, by using the visceral fat more than anything else. I think the answer here is, don't just watch your weight. Okay, I think we need to be mindful of our waist, okay, because that's where the visceral fat is located. And visceral fat are stubborn fats, and they are the more dangerous kind of fats. Having better health, a matter of reducing calories. Is that all? Just reducing calories?
Well, definitely not just that, right? So we know that that you can, as what we have mentioned, you can be of normal weight or just slightly overweight, but actually still be malnourished. In fact, this is increasingly common as we observe that a growing number of people actually who have sufficient or let's say excess calories, but yet still have very poor diet quality. So this results in them being deficient in micronutrients, such as certain vitamins and minerals like iron, vitamin B12, and even vitamin D. So for example, right, when people are not achieving their 2 + 2 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, they tend to become insufficient or deficient in a range of vitamins and minerals, which will lead to less efficient breakdown of the foods they eat, and therefore greater fat accumulation because these foods are not broken down for energy. And this lack of micronutrients can also compromise on their immune system, making them more vulnerable to a range of illness. Additionally, consuming too much refined carbohydrates, consuming too much added sugars, which are energy rich but nutrient poor, means having lack of nutrients, is also another indicator of a poor quality diet. So rather, we encourage the intake of more whole grains, which are higher in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and also other protective plant-based goodness, called what we call phytochemicals. Thus, while maintaining a healthy weight is important, we also need to make sure that we consume a good quality and balanced diet to maintain good health and prevent diseases.
Let's move on to fat. We've been told that saturated fat is what causes heart diseases, and so should be limited to about 10% of our food intake. And the healthier type is unsaturated fat, which, for example, plant or seed oils. Yeah. But then there are recent studies that, and experts coming up to challenge that conventional wisdom. What's your take on that?
Yeah. So, well, definitely. I mean, we know from decades of research, right, that high intakes of saturated fats do increase blood cholesterol levels, leading to high risk of heart disease. So the limitation to 10% is saying that, well, you can still enjoy some, okay, but make sure that you do not take too much. So therefore, the shift has really to kind of emphasize the unsaturated fats, which are the healthier fats, because we still need fats in our diet, right? They are important to protect our organs, to keep us warm, to form hormones that are important for our body. So some form of fats are still important, okay, and we are going now for unsaturated fats. However, the thing about unsaturated fats is that they are also less shelf stable compared to saturated fats. And this is because they are more susceptible to oxidation, which means that they turn rancid if they're kept for too long at room temperature. And they also break down easily at high temperatures. So what food manufacturers have done to overcome this issue is that they adopt a chemical process called hydrogenation that will convert liquid vegetable oil into solid fat, so that these unsaturated fats found in certain food products, they have longer shelf life, and they're more resistant to breakdown from extreme hot cooking temperatures. Now, there are two types of hydrogenated oils that can be formed. The first type is partially hydrogenated oil, and the second type, fully hydrogenated oil. Now, partially hydrogenated oils are the ones that can affect our heart, okay, our heart health, because they increase the bad cholesterol, or what we call the LDL cholesterol, and they also lower the good cholesterol, or what we call the HDL cholesterol. And the good news is that partially hydrogenated oil, okay, have now been banned, okay, in all fats, oils, and prepackaged food products in Singapore since July last year, 2021. Now, on the other hand, we still have fully hydrogenated oils. So while they contain very little what we call trans fat, right, the ones causing the increase in bad cholesterol and decrease in good cholesterol, so they don't carry as much risk as your partially hydrogenated oils. But fully hydrogenated oils still generate saturated fats as part of the hydrogenation process. And it's what we talk about, how high levels of saturated fats can increase blood cholesterol in our blood, leading to high blood cholesterol and high risk of heart disease. So really the recommendation is when you're cooking, go opt for unsaturated oils like canola oil, sunflower oil, olive oil, okay? But still try to limit the intake of food products that contain hydrogenated fats. For example, cookies, frozen pies, fried foods, right, deep fried foods, and some of the baked products. Yeah, so this is a recommendation here.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I think what I would do is because there are quite different views out there, and I will just post them in the comments or description section for people to read up on. Personally, I like saturated fats. I like the pork with a lot of fats and the meat and things like that. I think what some of these experts have come up to find is that before 1976, when the US FDA began to tell people to take more of unsaturated fats, for example, and these are basically found in cooking oils and all that, and stop taking lard and these fats from animals. What they found is the number of the incidences of heart diseases and overweight, obesity, and obesity related diseases start to skyrocket. But before that, all these diseases were almost unheard of. people were suffering from other forms of diseases, but not these kinds of heart-related diseases and diet-related diseases. So I'll just put the information in the description for people to check it out, and if they want to know, or if you want to make a comment about that, just please feel free to do that.
Yeah. So I think we need to also see where the evidence is coming from. So yes, there was a shift towards unsaturated fats. And at that time, if these unsaturated fats were hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated, leading to the production of trans fat, we know that trans fat is actually more harmful than saturated fats. And this lot of evidence didn't come in until much later, when trans fat was really already in the market for quite some time. And very likely probably also kind of causing the increase in, for example, the heart diseases, which we may not have seen from earlier of intake of saturated fats. So, but now with the accumulated evidence, we now know that trans fat is the culprit, and therefore the move now towards basically banning trans fat or limiting trans fat. So hopefully, evidence takes years to kind of accumulate, okay, and also to see how the same evidence is reproducible in different countries and different population. So while I agree, right, that to say that I think the balance needs to be there. I wouldn't say avoid unsaturated fats, because we still need some form of fats in our diet. And between saturated fats, unsaturated fats, I think, yes, enjoy some saturated fats from your pork lard and all that, but there must be a balance. While that's limited, make sure that the majority of the oils you're using cooking still comes from unsaturated, and avoid those foods that can contain hydrogenated fats, which is you can say a transformed form of unsaturated fats.
I think that's good advice. I think in moderation is the key, right?
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, moderation is the key. All right. Moving on to sugar. Well, clearly sugar is one of the reasons why we are getting fatter and sicker. Sugar is in many of our foods that we eat. Some are visible, some not so visible. So can you talk to us about the hidden sugar and what does it do to our bodies?
Yeah, sure. So now many of us do have a sweet tooth, okay, be included, and sugar does make us very happy people. So obviously we can't avoid it. But sugars has what we call empty calories, where it just contains calories and no other beneficial nutrients like fiber, vitamins, minerals. When we take more sugar than we require, or then more than we can use up, we end up consuming excess calories and therefore leading to weight gain. Now, moreover, high sugar products can also lead to spikes in blood sugar levels. And if such irregular excursions of blood sugars happen frequently, this can increase our risk of diabetes. However, it's often not so clear when we're consuming sugars, right? Because sugars can come in different forms and they also have different names. So therefore, we often refer to such added sugars as hidden sugars because they are disguised with less well-known names. So for example, when you hear, other names for sugar like raw sugar, brown sugar, cane sugar, they sound healthier, but actually they are still the same. They're still sugars, they still have same number of calories per gram. Again, no added nutrients other than calories. Or you might hear of names that ends with the word syrup, like corn syrup, fructose syrup, glucose syrup. Again, these are also different form of sugar. Other kind of less well-known names are names with words ending in O's, O-S-E, like fructose, sucrose, maltose, dextrose, or other less conspicuous terms like fruit nectars, honey, molasses. Again, these are sugars, okay, which are well disguised or less known, okay, but still, nevertheless, still sugar. I guess what I want to highlight are the hidden sugars found in sugar-sweetened drinks, or what we call sugar-sweetened beverages. There are by now numerous studies that have shown that high intakes of sugar drinks are associated. Okay, in fact, they affect contributors to the increased prevalence of overweight and obesity in both children and adults. And the problem really with such beverages is that firstly, people do not realize that they're consuming calories when drinking these beverages. People tend to associate drinking beverages with thirst rather than with hunger. And so therefore, for them, it's common to just consume them generously or even mindlessly, not realizing that these drinks, accumulatively, can add substantial amount of calories to a person's day's intake. And secondly, our brains also do not register fullness, or satiety from liquid calories compared to solid calories. So, for example, studies have shown that if people take a liquid pre-meal snack, or pre-meal snack in the form of a liquid, at the next main meal, they will eat like normal, amount of food. They do not make up for the extra calories consumed. Now, compared to if they have taken a solid pre-meal snack, at the next main meal, they would actually consume lesser foods because they will have felt full from the snack. So really telling us that there is a difference in terms of how our brains register fullness from liquid calories and solid calories. And therefore, if people are not conscious about reducing or regulating the amount of calories they're taking from drinks, they can easily overconsume on calories.
Yeah, I think that's very true because I think the sugar and salt, by the way, I think these really makes us want more and more of it, right? So
Absolutely.
We need to be very careful. Yeah, and I think when I began to learn about these things today, I basically drink either coffee without sugar or milk, tea without sugar or milk, or water. That's basically what I drink. Yeah.
Fantastic. Wow, good. Yeah.
It takes a lot of discipline and getting used to, but in a very short while, it becomes your new norm already. So I want to encourage people, I only drink those, soft drinks maybe when I'm at a party or, something like that. But at home, you won't find me drinking such things. Not even fruit juices, because fruit juices are loaded with sugar. Or even juicing, for example, eating one apple as compared to making a cup of apple juice, which requires, about 2, maybe up to 3 apples. That's already, I think, an overload of sugar, for example. Yeah. So I think just eating the apple itself with the fiber is a much healthier way to go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of myths out there saying that, oh no, fruit juice are healthy and therefore you can take loads of it. And you're actually right about the sugar. I think people forget that while yes, you can, it's a full lot of nutrients, vitamins and minerals, but it also comes with lots of sugars. And I think having eating that fruit, right, as almost like a solid, that whole that process of even chewing, munching it, again, that's helping your brain register that I'm getting full from that one apple, that one fruit, compared to drinking the fruit juice. So again, totally agreement with you. And also to encourage people to say that take time to kind of also change and adapt your palate, right? It will take time, even if you gradually reduce the amount of sugar in your diet. And I think it will pay off because if you have your soft drinks, your fruit juice once in a while as a treat, you enjoy it a lot better than if you have it regularly, and after a while, you probably don't tend to appreciate it as much. Yeah.
Actually, I don't, if I drink, any soft drinks or even fruit juices, I don't enjoy it anymore. I find it very sweet. I says, oh dear, I can't even finish a pack of it or a bottle of it. So that's very interesting. Your body just, adjusts to it, and you actually are not missing a lot at the end of the day. Well, exit question. If there's one thing you would advise Singaporean families to immediately change about their eating habits, what would that be?
Okay. So what I would advise is to be mindful of what they eat, or rather what we eat, and to eat mindfully. So I'm going to put in 2 things there. Okay, but they sound very similar, but actually they have quite subtle difference. Being mindful of what we eat and to eat mindfully. So first one, now many of us know about my healthy plate. We know we're supposed to have more whole grains, to have our 2 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. But we know all this, but does this translate to we being aware of what we put into our mouths each day? Are the foods we're eating, mostly nutritious, mostly nourishing foods, or are they just foods with empty calories? So knowing what we should eat and making a conscious effort to do so are two different things. So I would say let's start being mindful of what we eat, of what we put into our mouth. And part two, to eat mindfully means to, when we are eating, whether a meal or a snack, to really focus on that and to enjoy this time when we're eating. And now in this day and age, it's not uncommon to see people, eating the television on, eating while watching the devices, or eating at their desk, okay, while working. Often enough, this leads to overeating leads to overeating, right? Because people don't focus on their meals. After a while, they tend to forget that they have eaten, or they forget what they have eaten. As a result, okay, this translates to people consuming more than they should, eating snacks more frequently, in general, taking less balanced diets because they're just not aware that they have eaten or what they have eaten. So really, to advise, it's really be important to be mindful of what we eat, and when we're eating, to eat mindfully. Yeah, that's from me.
Thank you for that. I think that's great advice. Yeah, try not to eat in front of the TV or doing something else, but eat mindfully, because you need to pay attention to the signals your stomach is sending to your brain, telling that, okay, it's full. And from what I understand, there is a little delay even in that signal. So by the time you're conscious of that signal being sent from your stomach, you are probably almost at the verge of being very full already. So if you're distracting yourself by TV or reading a book or working, and typing emails, stressful emails, by the way, you will miss those very subtle signals that your stomach is sending you. And so in the end, you have overeaten.
Totally agree with you. Yes.
All right.
And if we're only eating, let's say 3 times a day, we might as well enjoy that time when we're eating.
That's right. It's a time to unwind. It's a time to be still, be with yourself, and people talk about mindfulness. So you can be doing 2 things at the same time, right? Eating and being mindful about yourself and what you eat. And I don't know. I don't know if this is evidence-based, but I somehow believe that when you really appreciate every mouthful of food you put into your mouth, it actually maybe does even more good to your body, than just chomping it down and swallowing it mindlessly.
Definitely evidence-based. There's a lot more evidence now into mindful eating. So a lot of mindfulness now, not just in terms of doing things, but also in terms of eating. So definitely that's the way to go. If you're talking about mental health and trying to maintain good mental health, eating mindfully is one step closer towards that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Mary Chong, Assistant Professor at the Swee Hock School of Public Health, National University of Singapore, for sharing these great insights, science-based information, by the way. And if people want to learn more, can you think of any resources? Where can people go to for more of such, science-based, evidence-based information?
Yes, definitely. Our Health Promotion Board has the Health Hub. So that's where they do give updated information, whether it's from nutrition to, for example, physical activity, and also other aspects of our lifestyle. So that's a very good website to go to.
All right, I will be including that in the description of the video for everyone to check it out. And please read, because the information could save your life. All right.
Oh,
Thank you, Dr. Mary Chong, for spending your time with me. And have a nice day.
You too.